Welcome all of you in the third Zürich Blockchain Pitch and Networking Night. I'm really happy to see so many people here because we are trying to build a big and strong community here, and without you guys that wouldn't be possible. As you know, our meetups are built for startups to present themselves, to get bigger recognition, to get feedback from the community, what they think about your ideas. Maybe you can get some valuable partnerships in the networking part. As for the visitors, you can get to know these startups much better than if you would just go through their website. You can get to know what kind of projects are built in this industry right now, and maybe you can choose which team you would like to join, and then after speak with the founders here. We are trying to build every meetup better than the previous one, and that wouldn't be possible if we wouldn't have sponsors. So the Blockwiz, leading blockchain audit and development company in Baltics, they have believed in us that there is need for strong community, so they are supporting us. And also Westhive, they are giving a chance to host this event in this beautiful venue here. So thank you guys. Klaus right there, so you can speak with him after in the networking part. Because without them, probably we wouldn't be here tonight. But as the meetup group have grown bigger, we also want to give you bigger value. And that's why for this meetup we have implemented 2 new things. One of them is a surprise for our community members. About that you will hear during the pitch battle. So, but the second thing is we have invited the panel or a jury for this night. Because we heard that for the startups would be bigger value if there would be some competent people who could evaluate how they are pitching, what they think about their idea. So this, so we thought, okay, we will invite panelists so the startups would get bigger value. But I think that brings also bigger value for everyone who comes to our meetups, because now we will start our meetup with short panel discussion for 20 minutes, so you will be able to hear their thoughts on different kind of topics. But with our panelists and what's happening next, I will give the microphone for my colleague and blockchain preAccelerator co-founder in Latvia, Mikus.
Hello guys. Hey. So, jury, please come in the front. There are 4 seats for you, exactly for you. We can sit like that people recognize us, like how we have pictures. All right, guys. Exactly. Yeah, it's great that you have come here, so many of you, and we will try to deliver value for you. The first value is going to be from the jury and from the startups, and the second value will be dependent from you, which means that how active you're going to be in the in this networking part, communicating with each other. I'm sure, I'm 100% confident that every one of you has a connection here in this room that would give you extremely big value. So find this connection in the networking part, and I will give word to the jury members, and let's start maybe with you, Katka. We have a 1-minute pitch for ourselves, yeah, like who you are and for where and what is the Kickstart Accelerator.
Hi guys, thank you so much for coming in this weather. My name is Katka Letzing. I had the Kickstart Accelerator and also oversee the FinTech and Crypto initiative. My background is I moved to Zurich 4 years ago from Silicon Valley. I used to work on different initiatives for over 10 years, and most recently also ran acceleration innovation activities in Southeast Asia, based in Singapore and KL, and then we're really happy to work on Kickstart here in Zurich. Kickstart is one of the accelerators, corporate accelerators, engaging startups to come here from all around the world to work basically on the proof of concepts and pilots and building hopefully as much as possible in fintech and crypto, smart cities and infrastructure, food and retail, as well as edtech and learning. So We are based in Kraftwerk. Maybe some of you have been there. If not, come to visit us. So that's it.
Thank you.
I think I should go forward. Ralf Glabischnig, my name. Great to see you all here. I'm a founder of the Crypto Valley Association. I'm a founder of the Crypto Valley Labs. We host more than 100 blockchain startups in Zug already. We have a competition, it's called Blockchain Competition, with a $100,000 prize money. We did it last year with insurance, and we have one of the 3 winners here today, and we'll see the new pitch. I'm really excited about it. We have a blockchain competition for finance right now running again with $100,000, and we got around 150 applications from all over the world, from more than 40 countries. We have another blockchain competition for real estate, and we will see the finalists next year in April. In November there will be the Blockchain Summit Crypto Valley, and there you can see the top 10 of the blockchain competition for finance in Zug and a lot of other people. So coming out from Austria, coming to Zug 2005, little nice boring town, and in between it's the thunderstorm of blockchain which is running here in Switzerland, and great to have you here.
So that's me last. My name is Bargholz, and I'm the CEO and head of Accelerator of the Swiss Startup Factory. My background is in finance and economics, and since 2 years I work for the Swiss Startup Factory. We built up over 30 companies in the last 2 years. Some of them were in the blockchain and fintech space, and we are completely privately financed, and our office is right upstairs here at Westhive.
Thank you. And myself, I'm Mikus Losans. I'm from Blockchain preAccelerator. I'm one of these event organizers. Also, I'm working on a blockchain startup. This shirt is from there, and it's called Crypto Police. We are fighting scam and fraud with the help of community. We are using tokens to motivate them to identify scams, and we are using a blockchain to put everything together that people are checking other people's reports about scams. That everything is happening in a decentralized way. So Crypto Police, scam identification protocol with the community and blockchain. All right, guys. So I will open up the panel with the first question. Probably that's the most important question for startups who are raising money right now, is that comparing with the January, this is completely different century, right? In the ICO space and the fundraising for blockchain startups. So what are your thoughts on how blockchain startups should raise capital right now? Who wants to start?
Yep. No, go for it. Yeah.
So yeah, raising money is always a fun topic. Once you've built up proof of concept, you have your prototype, and now you want to scale up. What's the best way to do it? I mean, it depends. It depends on your startup. It depends what your needs are. If you're looking for an investor with smart money, you consider like more the old-fashioned way of getting a smart angel in, somebody with the network. And if you're just looking for somebody like just the money itself, an ICO is a great strategy to quickly like gather a lot of money and fund that.
Okay, but all right. Also, like, please adding the thing that's completely different in January and now, right? People are in the bear market. People are not willing to invest in ICO. So
probably the question is, what is a proof of concept and what is a prototype? An ICO only needs a white paper, isn't it? And I think we see a much more mature market right now, and we're coming to a normal way to raise money. So getting back to you, I think and I believe it was crazy to give startups 100 million, 200 million, or probably only 20 million, and say, now please execute on that. The venture capital industry is a little bit older, and I believe a step-by-step financing makes totally sense. So reaching some milestones and so on. And When I see what we are seeing right now in the ICO space, projects using 1.5 million of money to raise 4 million, probably the ICO is the wrong way to do it, because the costs of the ICO are too high and the value you generate out of it is too low. So I would suggest to go for the first round in a very classical financing round, as you mentioned it, with angels and so on, probably to 1 or 2 million. And when you're then ready, when you have something to show, when the business case is proven, then you can go for an ICO. And we have a huge move in the moment from getting back from utility tokens and moving to the security token part. And in my opinion, that's the future. We will see more than 90% of security tokens. We have some legal issues on that in the moment to solve, but we are on the way on that. And then it's getting more and more normal to have an equity round or a security token round and raising step by step. Just my 2 cents.
All right.
So I could just second that, basically. I mean, we have been working with a lot of different startups. I think, ICO has been like one of the, I would say, sexy things to do in the last 2 years. It has been with different ways of the financing. It was always kind of go big or go home. I don't think really that's the best thing always. And I think it's also kind of going through the evaluation from the beginning. Are you really the best startup to have ICO, or would you like to actually more focus on other streams of funding and what you exactly need actually in your planning? So I think a lot of startups been jumping in that, and I think there'll be some burns. That said, I think it's also an amazing opportunity to kind of focus on what is possible. Like for us, like we, for example, had one startup last year, it's called Blocko from South Korea, and they just basically locked their ICO for 30 million, but it went through really quite a process, like planning ICO in South Korea, when South Korea completely shut down all the ICOs last year, going through that, evaluating, going for Series B, which they locked for 10 million, and then still working the process for ICO because they got amazing opportunities to actually grow really fast. So I think it's really opportunistic, I think it's really individual, but I think I would say it's definitely kind of the change you can see just in last year to kind of be more cautious and just really do the homework or just ask to see, is this the really best thing to do actually, so.
I wanted to put on top of Ralf what said about that doesn't make sense to spend 1.5 million to raise 4 million. We actually tried to go into this direction in May, and we stopped in the very beginning because we saw from the results that you have to spend 3 million to raise 4 million in marketing, because you have to, like influencers, they ask for 24,000 for one video. ICO bench, do you know how much they ask? It's like crazy. It's a scam project from the beginning who bought advertisement for 200,000. Okay, anyway, to finish off this question, please give one short answer like. So right now, you have at least 10 startups sitting in front of you. You will say ICO, private investor, or traction. So what would be your answer? What would be the best fundraising scenario right now? ICO, private investors, maybe institutional investors, or deliver and then think about investments. So very short answer, not long answers, guys. Okay. Short answer.
A really short answer. It really depends.
Doing good ICO and delivering without money is probably a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I would say it really depends on the topic and what you are doing, and deliver in smart ICO. So I would just stop that basically.
All right. Thank you for these answers. Let's go to the next question. And so those startups that are presenting here, maybe few people who are not presenting, they have ideas in their heads right now, and they're looking at you guys as accelerators, as like you, the investors. And so what investors and what accelerators are looking for in startups? So please describe what are you looking for to accept as an accelerator, or to accept as an investor, yeah, an accelerator. So from your perspective, you do both. All right. So then from investor, from accelerator side.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of if you have a blockchain startup or not, like we evaluate it always the same. The first thing we do is that we look at the team. The team has to be complementary, so you have to have some techies, some business guys. You have to have industry expertise, so don't try to disrupt the fintech industry without having banking experience. And the last thing is you need founder experience as well. Even though if you work 20 years in the insurance industry and have a complementary team, it doesn't really make sense to start a company without having done that before. And this, I mean, it makes sense, but you should have a strong partner then on the side. The other thing that we look at, three other steps, is the market. You should pick out a market where it's scalable, where you're not just limited to a specific area, but you can grow geography-wise. And if you look at the 4-5 competition, biopower, supplier power, substitutes, this all has to be taken into account. Then you look at your business model. Your business model, everything in terms of revenue model, cost structure, IP, strategy, channels, how you approach the market. All of this must be planned out before you even start prototyping. And then the last thing that you have to look at is your product itself. In terms of blockchain, does it really make sense to use the blockchain technology? Or is it even better to build something up without it? This is the key question you need to ask yourself. And then when you find a product, when you find the problem that your product solves, is it really 10 times better than everything else in the market? And that's the first step that we evaluate all of our startup investments on, for the accelerator or the investment side.
That was a quite complete overview. I would just repeat, the most important thing are the people behind. It's the team. Because if you do a startup, probably you will pivot 3 times, but the team stays the same at the end of the day. So we trust people as investors and not in the idea behind it, first of all. And second, if you want to go in a blockchain startup, I see 2 ways to go in the future. One way is that we can finance everything through the blockchain. It's only do you go for financing, and probably we are going for an ICO for a bakery. But it's just a new way of financing. And the other thing is, do you really have a blockchain project? Is it decentralized? Is there the network effect in the system that it makes sense to use the blockchain? Because in the first step, it's not more efficient. It's slow, it takes more time, it is a little bit more complicated. And when it makes sense and when there's the network effect, then come to the crypto valley, very easy.
All right, so I would say it's really similar, like in general for accelerators. To speak more specifically about Kickstart, we focus on a little bit later stage startups because we work really closely with different partners, so corporations, governments, cities at the moment in all the fields. More specifically in fintech, we work with banks, insurance companies, consulting companies, and that's why we focus on the proof of concepts to kind of see if you're a startup and you're joining the accelerator, it's not kind of like, hi, you come network and push kind of for the acceleration. I think that's great. But we really more focused on to say, okay, what can really come out of it? Can it be matched actually for one of the organizations and create a project and really have something specific going out of the initiative? So we usually work on proof of concepts, as a POCs or pilots. Sometimes we also look directly commercial projects. So we've done it for the last 2 years. We're working on over 40 projects now, and it's been quite exciting. So I'm in Switzerland, coming from Silicon Valley, I had to learn to be a little bit more patient, but it really pays off, so it's been good.
All right, so Katka, you mentioned proof of concept. This is the stage that you were accepting, right? Then to what kind of stage do you accelerate them? This is a question only to you.
So my marketing people will be really happy now for this tag. So we say we don't accelerate startups, we accelerate partnerships. And it's just basically exactly kind of those connections. So working really closely with the partners in the outreach and selection phase to see what they are looking for. So let's say Swisscom focusing on specific crypto or blockchain projects. And we go out and basically ask the startups to say, okay, what kind of pilots you could potentially work on, and so how the matching happens. And then let's say last year, like from one of the projects we had, like say Bargholz from Korea, wanted to really implement different blockchain activities. And one of my dreams was to implement some of the blockchain projects in the banks, because a lot of people told me that's a suicide. But in the same time, I am really happy to say that we are doing a few projects now, just testing it, because as you know, dealing with legacy systems is quite challenging. So there's been that. Or then with commercial projects in InsurTech, with one of the companies, Helsana, basically focusing, I'm sure you know Helsana Plus, so it's kind of one of the projects, for example. So basically specific things that once they go through the closing ceremony, number one, they survive the pressure. The second time, they can lock specific basically agreements, and then can move them closer to get more clients and funding.
Thank you. And a question for you guys, Ralf and Chris. So you mentioned the most important thing is team. So guys, forget about this presentation. Oh, you can present, but you present only the team. So that means that basically I don't need a great business plan. I can come as an idea if you will see that, hey, these guys can deliver, and no matter what they're going to sell. I'm not a little bit over-exaggerating, but still. So that means that basically, if I have gathered a very professional team, extremely experienced people, if I will come to you and say, hey, we are looking for something to be up to, and we're looking for the direction, are you going to accept us as a team right now?
Probably we have two parts in our company. We have one part where we are going more for the startup world, where the idea should be there, the business case should be there, and we have another team where we are saying we are more company builders. And for the company builders, we are founding our own companies, and we need leaders for these companies. And so when the team comes to us, I have a lot of ideas where the market misses some things, but usually you can't follow all your ideas because you just don't have the capacity. So if here someone is a mighty entrepreneur in this sport and is searching for a new job, get to me. We have a great opportunity line at the Crypto Valley in the moment.
That's a very good answer. And maybe you have something to add regarding that. Hey, I have a great team. I have no direction. Can you accept us and invest in 200,000? Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We actually have the same system as of we run a company builder. We do this one for us internally. So our analyst team, we have a team of analysts sitting up there who screen the entire startup market in Asia, in the US, and they look for ideas that don't exist in the DACH region yet. And then we take those ideas, build up the business case, and once the proof of concept is done, we staff them with the right people. And for that, we also have a database of talented people, and we always look for more. So if you're interested in company building, then you can also apply to us as an individual, but also with the team. And then we also do company building for corporates, and there again we also look for talents. And yeah.
All right. So we have 3 minutes left. I will ask one last question, and that will be a quick one for an answer. So here we have, like, many of us have like ideas in their heads and they want to start something, or they have started something. What would be your like 3 steps you would say how to start a blockchain startup right now? Like 3 steps, quick ones.
So I would just say, for me, kind of from the experience, here in Switzerland, don't be afraid to fail, just go for it. I feel like failing is still a dirty word in Switzerland, or just in Europe in general. And then, I would say just go test it and get as much of network that you can behind you. But at the same time, I think a lot of startups, and we see that a lot, always think they need to reinvent the wheel. I think there's amazing resources now and amazing network that you can rely on. So I was just to say, you know, definitely use the network and try as much as possible. But I mean, I think in blockchain, you know, that was said earlier, I feel like a lot of people get excited about blockchain, but it's kind of this question, like, is this really needed? So I mean, just please be sure that blockchain is kind of the thing that you really want to do. Sometimes you might not know that's what you want to do, but most likely you can run really quick tests to kind of see if that's the way.
I would only add a small point, but a very important point. If you're sure you want to do a startup, quit your job and go 100% for the startup. I hate seeing teams, yeah, we are probably 5% working on that startup. I have time between 4:30 and 5, and what's about the idea? So really go in it 150%. And sometimes I see guys and saying, I have 4 startups and working on everyone a little bit. That's not working. A startup is 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, and that's it.
It's interesting you say that. So when we have applications like this, we don't even follow them anymore. It's like, yeah, thanks, quit your job, and then come back. How to start a blockchain company is how you start any company. You have an idea, you find a problem, you find a solution to it. In a solution, you check, does blockchain make sense or not? Then you look at if there's a customer, how this customer is behaving. Think about every startup is customer, like this customer centricity, focus. Your customer is the heart of your business, so I really understand him. You build a business case and then test it, go out, iterate. It's always a build, measure, learn process. Once you have done this with your business case, go out and build a prototype and test this again. Improve it, then get some funding, and then create stickiness and scale up your business. And this is the 3 steps: create a business plan, test it, build a prototype, test that, and then roll it out.
And quit your job. All right, let's say a big thank you to our jury. Now, guys, the floor is yours, and the jury is going to sit in front of you with these criteria. So they will evaluate product traction. So jury, please also listen. So product traction, theme, token model, potential for growth, and every one of those aspects are evaluated in 5 points. So 1 point, exactly, 5 is the highest. And after that, we will go to that place and we will discuss, fight, and find the best startup for today. All right, Carlos, now the floor is yours.
So yeah, we had planned 10 startups. At the end there's 9, you can see them. The teams will have 5 minutes to pitch their idea. Then after we have 3 minutes for questions and answers. At the beginning we will give the mic for the jury if you have some questions, and then also if there will be some questions from the audience, we will give the microphone for you.
Tonight I'll tell you a bit about Elrond, world's first high-throughput blockchain platform implementing adaptive state sharding and secure proof of stake. Elrond is basically a complete rethinking of public blockchain architecture, which is especially designed to be secure, efficient, scalable, and interoperable. And the idea is that with Elrond we are focusing to solve 3 important problems. The first one is scalability. And at Elrond we are tackling the heart of the scalability problem by attempting to bring a 3 orders of magnitude improvement compared to the current implementations we see in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the important part is that we aim for 10,000 transactions per second, minimal latency, and negligible fees. So why scalability, you might ask? And I think this is really, really important in the blockchain space right now. For any meaningful adoption to happen, scalability really needs to be solved. And real-world use cases require far more than the 10 to 12 transactions per second we see in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So once scalability is solved, Elrond will enable new frontiers for decentralized applications to build on. So how do we solve the scalability problem? Well, we implement a mechanism called adaptive state sharding, which basically partitions the network into smaller networks, effectively allowing for transaction parallelizing. The next important problem we are tackling, which any kind of architecture that wants to scale will have to face, is the efficiency and sustainability problem. And to tackle this, we introduce a new consensus mechanism called secure proof of stake, which is based on 3 core features. The main idea is that in order to scale, especially scale globally, you will have to tackle the problems that come with proof of work architectures. And this is why we introduce secure proof of stake, because on the one hand we eliminate the energy and computational waste problem, and then on the other hand we add an additional security layer in order to allow for random consensus group selection. The third and another important aspect of Elrond is that we design Elrond to be EVM compliant. That is, it will be compliant with the Ethereum virtual machine. And an important way to how we will approach the market, I think there's 3 paths here. The utility path, where we will create an interesting and very incentivized ecosystem for decentralized applications to build on Elrond. And some of the applications we will focus on at first will be decentralized exchanges and games. The second path will be the payment path, where we will make sure that Elrond will be accepted as a viable means of payment in both online and offline settings. And the third part will be an experiment through which we want to make Elrond a really robust store of value through the economic models we can implement and design from scratch. A very important aspect about the project is our team. We have had and have helped created several projects in the blockchain space. I've been part of the NEM core team, a project that is a $1 billion project in the blockchain space, have tackled some of the problems. We have a very technical team, both coming from academic backgrounds and with first-hand experience tackling some of these problems, as well as people who have had real experience with other startups. Another important aspect is that we are working with some key people that will help and guide us through some of the problems, especially on technical matters and legal matters, as well as business matters. These people come from Ethereum, Nex, City of Zion, Techstars, some universities, and Fitbit. They are a good addition to our team. An important part about the metrics is that we're going against the insanity you currently see in the market, and we will intend to raise $20 million for 50% of the token. The roadmap, you can see that we've released a very technical white paper, which is public right now, and are focusing to execute and have a fully featured testnet by the end of Q4.
Finish up.
Okay. And most important is we also have a working prototype, which we are currently testing. So thanks, and glad to tell you more.
Thank you. Questions from the jury?
Good, yeah. I also have a question too, in terms of everybody's working on solving the problem of scalability and making the blockchain faster, getting more transaction in a couple seconds. Who are your competitors in that space?
I think there's a couple of people who are trying to execute on this problem, and this is an open problem. We have a few of the competitors mentioned even in the paper, and have also outlined why we think we will be able to move very, very fast and execute on this. Because I think this is, on the one hand, a discussion about some really complex, technical, abstract problems, but then on the other hand, if you remain to the philosophic problem and stay there, you have not won anything. So the important part for us was to show that we can execute and validate the core proposition.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. If you want to get all the questions, please give faster answers. All right?
Thanks a lot.
So the next one will be Kevin with the startup World 3.
I'm Kevin Kirchman. I'm CEO of World Free Corporation. The free mark is a digital currency. And my background, I began programming as a kid for my father's banking software company, and then I worked all around a bank as a guest of the president. So I worked all over the software industry. Then I caught the AI bug and went and developed the technology and raised my own capital and built a team. We had clients like Litton Aerospace and Procter & Gamble and Baxter Healthcare. And I wanted to bring a technology that's of value back to the fintech space. And so I did a due diligence on the blockchain and Bitcoin, and I found there were some things it was missing. So there's a great opportunity that we have right now with digital currencies. And but in order to tap that opportunity, we have to consider not just the digital currencies, but the fiat currencies. And we have to build something that's better than fiats, not just other cryptos, if we're going to cross into the mainstream market. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea. This is a recent EU euro versus US dollar graph. You can see there's 2% volatility in one day, and then there's another instance 7% in 1 month. And when the price is going down, that's inflation, and when it's going up, that's deflation. Now, consider if you're a businessman or a business person in a developing country, and you want to begin to export your manufactured goods or services or products or whatever. 7% exposure is huge. It's a big cut on your margin. So even though we've got an opportunity now with these, like the Amazon distribution model, where you can go in and you can bring your products to the market. If you're from Madagascar, you can sell things in Tokyo or Paris, because now you don't have to go through a retail channel and demonstrate your advertising power and all these things. You can go right into the channel and get into the sales of it. So this reduction in barriers to entry is a big opportunity, but the foreign exchange issue is a real one. Okay, so we're addressing this as one of the problems. Now, returning to the crypto issue, scalability, the prior discussion touched on this. I gave a talk for 45 minutes about 2 weeks ago in Cyprus, and totally focused on our technical solution, but I'm happy to talk about that later. Fundamentally, though, distributed ledger means redundant data. So this distributed ledger is the big problem with scalability. And so I can talk about our solution and why this has to be addressed. So I have a long background in this space so that we come to a new solution. But the real issue right now, I think, is volatility. I explained on the fiats, but also cryptos, 20% in hours. Now, when cryptos are going up, that's deflation, and so buyers are holding their funds because they want to make more money. Okay, so when the cryptos are going down, that's inflation, and the sellers don't want to accept cryptos. Okay, so that's bad too. So these two forces of volatility are stunting mainstream adoption of cryptocurrencies. So if we don't solve the volatility problem, then we're never going to cross the mainstream. Okay, so our solution to this volatility problem of the free market, or is provided by the free market. First, we're a stable currency pegged to a basket of 20 commodities. Now, I'll explain that in a moment. and asset backing. We also do asset backing, which gives intrinsic value to a currency. Now this is we're going pre-Bretton Woods days, go back to the way we've been having currencies for 5,000 years. So that's really important, and it's one of the problems in the causes of high volatility. Just for example, 65% of free market sales go to a regulated audit fund, and 90% later that provide liquidity for the circular until the circular use case as a medium exchange develops. Okay, then the growth rate royalties is another key challenge or key opportunity. Basically, that increasing the wealth through growth of savings. Just how the growth rate royalties work, it turns inflation upside down. Right now we're selling at the 1 million tranche, we get to 25 million, that's 25 times, we pay 7.5. So an early buyer could get nearly 2 times their money with a successful ICO. This graph, the area under the graph is distributed across, the graph is actually longer, but that's how this patent pendant model works. And finally, this is just a picture of our app under development and our team. And this is to wrap things up. This guy is it's a leisure suit from the 1970s. Nobody wears one today. So the question is, if we don't cross into the mainstream market, if we don't cross the chasm, then you could run out of time and we could lose the opportunity. And so it's really critical that we solve these volatility as well as scalability issues. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For questions from the jury, let's start with one question from every jury member.
Hey, thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more? Like you said, it's I think still prototype MVP, but like did you run tests? What kind of traction is there actually?
Right. Well, this is kind of we've already been selling free marks. Okay, so we're already in business fundamentally. We're selling a currency, we're taking most of it and put in the asset backing. So right now we're demonstrating some of the functionalities, the pegging to the currencies. We have to explain a lot of things. This is a new approach. Okay, and so we also have to explain how they're going to get growth rate royalties, how that works. Now fundamentally this wallet is for transactions. There's a medium of exchange. So the sexy part isn't up here. And this is underway. We're working on transactions next week, getting that involved. It's already architected in the system. We're not far away from having a usable application, business usable application.
Well, don't you think that as soon as derivatives come out with forward contracts and futures, that your solution will be like absolute and nobody will use it anymore?
Oh, well, you're basically, I see there down there on the right, it says bond, crypto bond. So you look at a Bitcoin, I say that's like an equity. Our solution.
No, I see it as a derivative, like a future or like
a future on a crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think exactly how you derive income on a future of a crypto that has no asset backing and has no means of income. Okay, that's my first question. We know how a bond works. A company, go ahead again.
Well, you can have derivatives on any kinds of assets.
Yeah, well, you can make bets on anything. So how many butterflies enter Zürich in the summertime? That's just that's speculation. So you can So I'm not quite sure. I like to say the approach that we're taking as a medium of exchange. One day you're going to walk around, you're going to have money effectively in your pocket in your digital wallet, and it's going to be making money as the money supply expands. So that's our solution to crossing the chasm.
I really didn't get how you do it, if it's backed or not. So is it fully backed?
Well, it starts out, again, how much asset backing does the US dollar have? 0%, for instance. Okay, so we start out as basically 65% of the money goes into an audited, regulated hedge fund, basically, that's managed for 4 to 7% returns, like a university endowment. Okay, and we have to grow the endowment, but and over time, as we get past the early stage, then we'll start taking 90% in there.
I stopped the answer. Why are you better than Teaser?
Than which?
Teaser.
Tether. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Tether, imagine that we build in the digital world a copy of the fiat world. That's what Tether is. We've done nothing. We've provided no solution. That's why I go back to the original graph. That explains why we had to do something better. And I took some of the slides out, but
Why it's better? The question was why it's better than Tether.
because it's hugely volatile. We think Tether, we think the fiats are stable. They look kind of stable relative to one another, but what about with respect to the physical world? That's what we're doing with.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you again. The next one will be Digipharm.
Hi everyone, my name is Girish Fernando and I'm the co-founder of Digipharm. And today I would like to talk to you about how we are creating the world's first fair pricing platform in healthcare. So I think, there's one thing that we all want that combines us as humans, and I think it's we want to be healthy. Everyone wants to be healthy. And I think that right now, or we believe that right now, the healthcare system, the way it's designed, is not actually designed to keep us healthy. I think we believe that there's so much inefficiencies, and you all are paying for those inefficiencies. I think one of the main things that has a horrible effect on that is that patients around the world do not get the healthcare they deserve. So if you look at the high cost of medication, that is actually designed towards more about making money at this point versus actually improving the health of patients. So what we're doing is imagine yourselves and patients around the world paying actually for the healthcare that they get. So paying for what you get instead of just a flat fee, right? What does that mean? That means if you improve your health, right, you pay a certain price. And if you don't improve your health, you pay less or nothing. So let's say there's a cancer medication out there that could help you. Instead of paying the full price, whether it works or not, you or your insurance would actually only pay when it works. Right? Now that is a concept that is called value-based pricing or outcomes-based pricing. And it's actually, the world is moving towards that, but there's still a lot of hiccups. There's still a lot of challenges. And what Digipharm wants to do is provide the solutions to enable that. How do we use the blockchain and why does the blockchain make sense here? Well, we combine all stakeholders on our blockchain using smart contracts and the distributed ledger technology. What we do is we are able to code certain conditions that actually define what is it that makes a patient healthier or not. And based on real world data, and that can be clinical data coming from your hospital, that can be data coming from your health devices such as Fitbits, from your apps, whatever there is out there, right? And then we're able to reconcile that data and share that data with all the participants in the network, which includes the patient, so they have a real-time overview of how their medication or their treatment is working, the insurance company that is fully or partially paying for your treatment, and also the manufacturer, so meaning the pharma company or the medical device company that is out there offering that product or service. Now we're looking at a market that's huge, it's humongous, $8.7 trillion, right? And if you look at what Deloitte, what are the big players saying in this for this market, they estimate that 75% of healthcare pricing will be value-based. Right? And we've got one of the biggest medical device companies, Medtronic, that came from 0 to over 1,000 value-based contracts within 1 year. Now, how does our token economics work? Well, what we do is we're able to provide a utility token that gives us access, that gives our stakeholders access to the platform, and also patients around the world, but also any normal person who is looking out for health-related information. So because this is so valuable, right, it's because it's real-world data. So it's not certain analysis done on certain speculation or data that is coming from different sources. It's actually coming from the patients. What we then do is we're able to take the money that we receive for giving access to the platforms from our stakeholders and actually get tokens off the market again by buying them back. We have a trusted partnership with Swisscom Blockchain. So what they're doing for us is our ICO platform and also a full stack development partner. This is the team that we're working with. So we already have quite a large team and they're a broad expertise. So we have insurance companies in there, pharma background, so that's also me and our CEO, but as well as really blockchain experts who have done several projects in the space before and who are very valuable for us in developing our solutions. One of the great things I want to mention as well, so our CFO and our tech lead have been selected as UN blockchain healthcare experts. And obviously with their contributions, we're looking to further move forward our solutions. One of the things I want to mention, so we're already working with the top 7, so the 7 out of the top 10 pharma companies. We have already discussions with 3 out of the big 4 companies, so consulting and audit. And we have the luxury to choose which one we will go with. And we're running 4 pilots right now in 2018 and Q1. We've also received the full compliance, so we have received a no action letter from FINMA for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's shoot out the questions.
Yeah. Hi, Shu. I will ask you the same again. It's a big market, but it's super fragmented. What is your first market to tackle?
Right, so the first market we tackle is where we see the most openness of manufacturers such as pharma companies and insurance companies. And that's usually where the biggest need is, so the one where the biggest cross pressure is. This would be UK, Germany, Netherlands. Netherlands actually being very open and very forward thinking in blockchain as well as value-based contracting, and the US as well.
Thank you. In terms of the smart contracts, they need to track something. You said something about condition and states combined with real-time data, meaning that I have to wear like a Fitbit watch or I have to go to the hospital to get the data and then I pay whatever. Do you think this is a little bit too early for the market?
It depends what kind of diseases we're looking at, what kind of, let's say, therapies, right? But for some are quite advanced and the technology is already there to measure quite precisely what an improvement in health means and what not. So it depends.
Okay, so with what will you start? Back to this question, with what diseases now will you start?
Okay, so this would be a mixture between diseases that are where meta outcomes, for example, can also be used. So let's say heart disease. You know, if you're getting a heart disease treatment and you have to go to the hospital 3 times while taking this treatment, then most probably that treatment hasn't worked. So it's not even the clinical outcome that we have to measure in this case, but just to know how many times has that patient been in the hospital based on taking that treatment. Sorry, I didn't answer your question.
Yeah, no, I have so many other more.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I will have last one. You said you're working right now with 7 companies. What does that exactly mean, and how do you deal with kind of legacy systems? I mean, pharma, as we all know, is pretty challenging. I started up on my own, so how do you deal with it?
Yeah. So your first question is around, how do we approach them and how do we work together? Well, we are looking at, doing actually something that has. So we're running pilot projects. That means that we're looking at how can they implement certain value-based contracts or performance-based contracts, such as a manufacturer, pharma company, and insurance company. And then we look at how can we integrate into all of the systems, as you mentioned, right? And in certain cases, we integrate to hospital systems, and in certain other cases, we can integrate to more, let's say, health-related devices.
I have one last question. Where will you do your first US dollar of revenue? Which market, which product?
Okay, so this will be most likely in Europe. And how will we do it? So what we do is we take a percentage of the contract value. Because, let's say, medication will go through that, and let's say there's 100 million going through that smart contract, we will take a percentage cut of that smart contract.
Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you very much.
Very good timing.
Thank you, Digipharm, for the presentation. The next one is loyalty coin.
Welcome everybody, my name is Thomas Götzschmann. I'm the CEO and founder of Loyalty Coin. We want to change the future of shopping. Do I have it? Yeah. So what do? We do it live since September last year. So you can take your phone, you can download in the phone, put in Loyalty Coin, download our app and use blockchain in reality since September last year. So what do? We actually want to use blockchain for loyalty space. The loyalty space today, you know it all. You have miles and more, different programs, different cards. It's not digitalized yet, and it's very, I would say, it's far from the value which it drives, which it can drive. And we want to change that. So we want to bring to you a world where you can collect everywhere in different programs, in the coffee shop, in the gym, when you travel with a train, wherever there is incentivization rewards, you can collect it with one single access with your phone. No more cards, no more different names, logins, or whatever. Just one login. So simplicity and choice. You as a user, you choose when and where do you want to use these points that you get. Yeah? So everybody will ask first question, yeah, but why should a retailer do that? Huh? So actually what we do for retailers, we believe a loyalty retention program is to create additional sales. So every person that doesn't use the voucher that he gets from the shop because he threw it away or because his birthday voucher was expired is an unused sales activation. Because if you go with a voucher to a shop with 20 francs, you come out with a shoe of 120 francs and you spend 100 francs more in that shop. That's what we try to help our retailers. So we're actually a bit in a strategy of creating a decentralized ecosystem, connecting these little programs, you know, the little ones that are necessarily not even digital. A farmer or like a butcher or a bakery, they don't need to be digital. We help them to get a digital access. So what do? We connect fragmented loyalty programs. We make these points, this $500 billion market, liquid. We connect it together. We enable a single access, so you have one phone, everything there, you can collect it. We offer immediate rewards. It's actually quite funny. We didn't thought about that. That came up once we started our pilot, because I realized customers, when they see the voucher immediately, they say, oh, that's great. I have thinking about this other shoe I wouldn't have bought because I already have one shoe, but well, now with 30 francs less, I buy it as well. Reality, yeah? We have cases. Personal and direct reward. We allow direct communication. So I'm going to show you examples where we created up to 14% of the sales, weekly sales for our partners, by doing direct marketing, basically saying, hey, this Friday, Saturday, come by, get 20% extra just because you are a loyal member. And then I can see if you went there and have measurable traction. So 14% sales we created for our partners. Activate new customers. So if you connect these fragmented programs together, then you actually enable programs to be found over this connection. So we actually also make it interesting for customers that are new, and a big thing I'm going to repeat, switching customers. So if you look at today's loyalty programs, they're actually very interesting for the already loyal customers. So the coffee shop, you go there every day. When they start a loyalty program, you say, hey, great, because I go there every day, so every 10th time I get something for free. But if you look at the coffee shop's position, you are not the interesting customer because you go there every day anyway. The interesting customer is the one that comes there for the first time and normally doesn't come there anymore. This is the guy that you have to bring back in the shop, and we try to do that. How does it work and why blockchain? So today, you know, you have low reach, it's not so attractive. Oh, I already have 5 cards, I don't need another program. I'm not coming often here, so I'm not a loyal program, loyal customer, so I will not get a return early enough. It's attractive for already loyal customer. It has high costs because everybody has to set it up. Blockchain, we actually connect it together. So once you have a login, you can log in everywhere. So if I'm going to a shop where I'm only once, oh, I have to speed up. That's very good, thank you. Then I can actually collect anywhere. So we make, I'm going to explain you probably questions coming on the blockchain. We are live, so you can see it. Choice and simplicity. That's our 4 programs. So you have seen 2 are new since last November. These are our figures. 58,000 we made direct measurable sales uplift with our programs, and that's also the speech. You know, every new one will create an additional benefit to the ecosystem, but we are already creating value to each of them by building it. I don't have enough time. This is our roadmap. So basically, we are creating the proof of the platform in Switzerland now in 2018, building our core team, and in 2019. We are going then global. That's what we prepare. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Questions?
I have one question. Are you running SEO?
We planned it. We have the FINMA go live, but then we stopped it because I got once kicked out by the bank. I don't want to get kicked out by my second bank. So we are waiting right now. We have self-funded. We switched them from ICO to self-funded, friends and family. That's why right now we're really focusing on Switzerland, proof of value, trying to understand the customer, trying to build value proof, and then 2019, big Series A funding and maybe ICO to take the ICO advantage of global marketing, because it's a global marketing tool as well. So maybe 2019, not yet.
I want to ask you, how do you solve the problem that I would exchange all my Cumulus points to miles and more? Because there's always a more valuable system, and I think there will be forums and so on, and you will change it to the best thing. How could you avoid that?
So my first answer would be, that is the biggest question that they, for example, insurers would ask me, right? Because they're afraid that their program are not attractive enough. And the point is, you only pay when somebody comes into your shop with a digital loyalty point from you that you gave to your customers. So if Cumulus points give points to the customer, they will only pay when the customer comes into the Mikus shop to use it. Versus miles and more, people will only pay for the miles and more that they give to the customers. So if everybody in this room changes Cumulus points to miles and more gets more expensive. So you need more and more Cumulus points. So then we'll reach a point where some people will say, no, I prefer to pay my train ticket, then I get a lot of valuable customer Cumulus points. And miles and more will only pay for the people that goes there and use it, with the hypothesis, obviously, that you're not going to spend 100% of your cost with the points. So if it would happen, we are individualized programs, they could define a reward rule saying, okay, you can only use 30% of your price with points. But then they still win because they get new customers, you know.
Yeah, great pitch. You spent too much time on slide 2, which is for next time.
Thanks.
In terms of what I'm really wondering about is how do you onboard new customers, as of your customers that you showed before?
Technically or commercially?
Commercially, like how do you go there? How much does this cost to like your customer acquisition cost compared to the life cycle value of your?
10 seconds for answer.
Can I just add to it? How do you deal with data privacy, especially after changes of the regulation in the last 2 months?
Yes, that's 2 different questions. I'm going to go with answering. Please come to me afterwards, I will answer. But I mean, I can give you maybe a quick answer to him. So onboarding takes about 3 months to 6 months, depending how big they are. From the small shops you can have in 1 month. It's basically a CEO decision because it's customer trade, so it's really key. Customer cost is not that big, but it's like, you know, like technically it's you set up a thing and it works. So commercially it's also working quite fast.
Sorry, no questions anymore.
Can you just say yes, no, GDPR compliant? Yes,
We are
no.
GDPR compliant. We were asked 1 year ago and it was a hell to set it up, but it's
Thank you
easy.
very much.
Thank you.
So we have a next pitch from a team called Bezos. Yeah.
Ready. Hi everyone, my name is Ray Howry. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bezos. And this is...
Hello everyone, my name is Kai Schutz and I'm the CTO of Bezos.
We are an investigator from police. So today you have real police guys here, not only blockchain police. But maybe we should talk after about cooperation. First of all, let me show you our introduction video to give you an overview of Bezos.
Welcome to the age of blockchain and decentralized ownership. Built in the heart of the Swiss crypto valley, Bezos is a blockchain-powered ecosystem on which anyone can store, protect, and transfer physical assets. It's a virtual inventory for protecting all your valuable assets against crime like theft, fraud, and counterfeiting. The Bezos team has extensive experience in law enforcement. The Bezos client empowers users or companies to take control of all their assets with the advantage of blockchain technology. It's a significant game changer and will initiate a turn in how people are managing their properties. The use case is blockchain technology at its core. The Desos mobile and desktop applications can interact with different actors like retail, e-commerce, auction platforms, lost and found, law enforcement authorities or insurance agencies. Desos bridges the gap between the traditional prosecution and asset protection and is the new world and home of trust. A decentralized ecosystem to fight against crime like theft, fraud and counterfeiting, globally and in real time. A new worldwide and scalable property protection standard is emerging. The DOS token has several features. It serves as an access point for using the primary functions of the Desos ecosystem and grants certain payments to their holders subjected to Desos discretionary decisions. To become an early adopter or investor of the Desos token or to get more information, visit desos.io. Be part of an industrial revolution.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We develop a security protocol through the blockchain to protect all your valuable assets like watches, cars, arts. I'm very sure everybody in this room have a mobile phone as well. And we protect them from fraud, theft, and the brands from counterfeiting. Here we show you a few facts and figures. This is currently from police crime statistic in Switzerland. The last year we have up to 42,000 stolen vehicles. Only here in Switzerland we had 45,000 thefts, like smartphones or other gifts. Up to 42,000 burglaries, maybe in your house or also your house. Then we have up to 4,000 trick thefts, and not to forget shoplifting, up to 15,000. So we see that's a really real world problem. So currently in the world existing 194 countries. So we have also 194 blacklisting tools by the police departments. So that's not really good, because across the border there's no chance to get your stuff back. So we have no global real-time protection, no digital certificate of authenticity, thank you, and no digital inventory.
So about the solution, a little bit to me. I'm an IT guy. I work as a computer and smartphone forensic specialist for the last 10 years for law enforcement, and I'm part of this project. So what is our solution? Our solution is a blockchain at its core. So we use the blockchain to bring your physical items into the blockchain with your smartphone. So you use your smartphone, you use a smartphone app, you use a desktop application, and you can bring your items into the blockchain. A blockchain is secure, a blockchain is decentralized, and that's basically the solution for it. We have, as you see on the slide, we have API interfaces, we have all around. To just round it up for the last seconds, we have some really strong partnerships. We work together with the University of Zürich, with Dr. Thomas Bocek, who worked at the Modum and Valid ICO. We met up with Federal Counsellor Schneider Ammann also. And yeah, we have a lot of progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Should we need questions?
So 2 things regarding your pitch. Don't show a video. You have the chance to talk to the people and the chance to introduce yourself and to create a connection. So use that. And then when you do it, yeah, show some energy and be on stage. Just stand right in front of that, don't hide behind the thing. Just as a side note.
Yeah, thanks for it.
Question: How do you make money?
Yeah, so we make money basically by the transactions. So by the transaction fees. And what we also have, we have a so-called reward system. So if you lose an item somewhere and somebody else picks it up, he can get a reward, and part of the reward can also go to us. Yeah.
Can you maybe speak exactly kind of with the collaboration like with the police? I mean, you know, it's quite regulated, right? So, and then like, have you had tests actually? Like, is there traction? I can really understand.
So yeah, so the thing is, we both work at police, and the company called the Log Object, you maybe don't know, but they do the police software for almost whole Switzerland. So we're also working together with them, and at the end of the day, the police officers just have to use the app. They just have to type in the serial number and check on the app, is the device stolen or not. Yeah, yes.
Where and when will you make your first US dollar or Swiss francs with your system?
When we go live, basically.
And that is?
That will be around 2019, 2020. So we are realistic about that.
We are pretty sure the first movement will be by Swiss watches, because we are in the right place for that.
All right. So you have chance to give question. Use it. 1 minute. Yes.
Do you know the organization Safe or Bold?
Yeah, we know the organization called Safe that tried to copy us.
So I'm asking myself, who is copying who? Because all those three projects have the exact same idea.
Yeah, but we have not experience of law enforcement. To do that successful, you need definitely a lot of experience in investigation, in law enforcement, because you know, if you don't know what you do, you cannot be successful.
Yeah, and we were earlier with our website, with our web paper, we were first, and calling about Safe, they even copied our slogan, so...
And when did you start with the project then?
Excuse me?
When did you start with the project?
Beginning of this year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Small surprise, right?
Yes, so we asked some of the teams that every day want to engage a bit more with our community. So yeah, and a couple of teams actually want to give you their tokens for free. So the teams are Digipharm, Dezos, which you saw right now, and World Free. They will give you their tokens if you will leave your email in this link right now, because we will give the tokens only for the first 50 people. Maybe Mikus will explain a bit more what exactly you have to do to receive these tokens and what are the next steps when you go to this link.
Yeah, very easy. So here is the link. You open your browser bit.ly/Zürich airdrop. Yeah, Zürich airdrop. And there you have to leave the email. You will receive an invitation to copy your address in, so your Ether address. So that's it. You don't have to do it right now. You can do it like later when you're back home if you don't have the Ether address at your phone, or you can create one as well. So first 50 people are going to be invited to get to be participate in the airdrop. That's about it.
Just one more thing: if you didn't register, that you will come to this event, but you will register for the airdrop, you don't get the tokens, because the tokens will be received only by the meetup members, or wherever you signed up. Maybe you signed up on our website or Eventbrite, meetup group, whatever, but you had to be registered to receive the tokens.
Alright guys, I hope you take a photo of the link, because it's gone now. So let's continue with the last 5 startups.
Welcome to the Soundproof project, developing a blockchain-based solution to validate and to verify within business context any kind of digital files. we have developed our protocol, our peer-to-peer protocol, which store in the blockchain the proof of legitimate validation, which can be later, anytime, retrieved for verification. That's remove the need for having a third party to trust while fighting against all kind of document fraud and counterfeiting. In our sense, the most efficient way to build our project is a network. A network including a foundation, the foundation to host an independent committee for the token governance and to guarantee the evolution of the file-proof open source. The rest of the network is made of independent business entities, all using the same protocol and the same utility token, focused on addressing specific use case in multiple markets. We started our first use case in the job market with the company CiviProof. In addition to the use case for the job market, we see a lot of opportunities, and including opportunities to build new solutions, and like for instance, handbooks for service maintenance, document ownership that can be transferred when you resell a product, product warranties, and so on. I'm Ray Shotun, the initiator of this project, with significant IT leadership experience in private banking, in aviation, in computer manufacturing. I also hold mobile patent since 10 years. The other co-founder of the project is Frédéric Verin. Frédéric is based in Singapore, most recently working as Vice President Finance of a very successful startup in the grocery delivery focused in Asia. We are supported by many senior advisors, including, for instance, an ex-CTO from Ericsson, a lawyer with very intense experience in the blockchain since 2015, and so on. We have developed our proof of concept last year at EPFL in Lausanne. And since with our current prototype, basic prototype, we have found our first two customers to deliver in few weeks from Q4 2018, and respectively in aviation and medical. We are currently focused on securing the seed funding in order to deliver our client and to prepare the launch of our alpha platform scheduled beginning of next year, as well as our token sale. Our funding proposal is a mix of equity and token, and for cash injection, roughly equal to 600,000 Swiss francs in the founders' company. I thank you very much for your attention and your interest in the project.
Can you please elaborate who are your initial clients and what exactly you are doing to them?
Yes. So our initial clients are first company doing recruitment in aviation, and what they will do vetting for their clients like airlines, and they will store the vetting using our tool. The second client is a research center delivering training to experts in surgery in the world, and they want to certificate their training with our solutions.
Why do you need a foundation for the project?
Yes, for two things. For the governance, independent governance, and the second thing, to guarantee the evolution of our protocol, which is open source. So meaning that there will be different entities, private entities, and I'm the founder of a private entity, but at some point I should not be the king. And this what will do the foundation.
So from my point of view, this is one of the simplest use cases in the blockchain world, and it takes 10 to 20 days to develop it. I don't get the foundation in the moment. I didn't get the complexity of the project for having a foundation.
Oh, the foundation is not to answer any complexity. It's just to provide our token holder kind of guarantee.
You want to raise, if you go back to the raising fund slide, you want to raise 3 million as a seed round, as if in the very beginning?
No. We're gonna.
Sorry, you have your evaluations. 3 million.
Yes.
For a proof of concept, you have nothing, just the proof of concept. You think your company's worth 3 million.
That's the valuation. The valuation, we start with the valuation of the different companies, because it's a network of different companies, and the valuation of the different companies, yes, is that figure. And again,
how did you get there? How did you get to the number? Who calculated that?
This is mostly our financial people, and I know that this is.
But from your team, there are only 2 guys in the team right now, right?
No. This is the key founders. And in our team, we have a CTO based in Russia. We have the rest of the technical team here. We have business people, financial people in Singapore. We have different people.
I also would like to challenge you a bit on the funding. I think it probably hurt you. What's the competition there? I mean,
Yes. Yeah. And the competition comes from different angles, because we are a network. And for instance, if you take one use case like the civil proof in the blockchain area, in the job market area, we have competitors like API, for instance. And the reason of this network is to mitigate the risk and to have a different use case for the same protocol and the same token. So meaning that we will have at some point different competitors, but for the time being, there are a lot of domains where we don't have competitors yet. For instance.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. So the next one is Sarah called Leva.
Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm from Leva, and we will save the private equity investors in Switzerland $1 billion Swiss francs in fees in the next decade. And I'm going to show you how. So we as Leva, we think private equity is great. It's a great industry. It has outperformed normal standard equity investments in the last decades consistently. It's grown a lot as an industry, but it is hard and expensive to access. So if you go to a private equity fund right away and say you want to invest, he will ask you for a minimum investment of about $5 million US. You think, okay, that's a lot. Maybe there's a different way. There is a different way. You can invest for a bank, and then you can invest with $250,000 as a small investment. Better, but that's how it looks like. You have to go through a lot of intermediaries until your investment actually reaches the asset you want to invest in. And all of these intermediaries take a hefty fee. So we think, from Leva, we think there's a better way. And this way looks like this. Through the Leva platform, you can, as an investor, invest right away into funds and assets which are selected and backed by asset managers and by private equity funds. So how does this work exactly? Basically, as an asset manager, you can digitize the assets you have, you can tokenize them, you can put them on the platform, and as an investor, I can buy these investments and get these tokens in return. And then I can actually trade them on a secondary market with other investors just like me. So what's in for you as an investor if you use Levi? First of all, you get access to the private equity world. That's great. So far, you probably don't have it. You can invest in interesting companies. You can get great returns. And even if you're one of these wealthy few who can invest already, you have fees on Levi which are a lot lower than you currently face. It's investor-led. That means that you're not going to invest in anything like in a crowdfunding platform which has no solid backing, but you're going to invest alongside investors which are professionals, which have knowledge, and which know what they do. And lastly, you get more liquidity. In the average or normal private equity world, you have to hold on to your investment for 5 years or even longer. And with us, you can sell your investment again on the secondary market. So you can always free up the cash you put in your initial investment. Globally, we think that we can address assets under management of over $1 trillion US. But of course, we're not going to conquer the world tomorrow. So we're going to start in our home turf. That's the German-speaking market, where we have, where we know funds, where we have connections, and where we have 50 billion US dollars that we can address as assets under management. And that's already a great start. We have a great team. We have a complementary team. We have people who work in private equity and who work in consulting who really understand the private equity worlds, the investors, their needs, and we can onboard them. We have some people who worked in law and who are lawyers who know how to figure out regulatory challenges and compliance challenges. And we have a great technology team, mostly from ETH, with people who are well versed in blockchain and who know how to build a platform like that. We've also come quite far already. So we have our first seed financing, we have an MVP which we developed, and we have investors who are former CEOs of Credit Suisse and former CEOs of the Swiss unit of Julius Baer. So we want to do a private financing round now. We're waiting for the final FINMA approval. We're confident that we'll get it filed already, and we'll do an ICO later this year. So if you want to know exactly how we help investors to save the $1 billion in 10 years, come talk to us. There's myself around, and there's Jean-Jacques in the back here. He's also from Levi. We're happy to talk to you afterwards.
Thank you very much. Can you please elaborate on your traction? You mentioned MVP. Do you have already some customers? Please elaborate on traction.
Yes, so we have an MVP, but we don't have a final platform which we actually need to, to actually get the customers and do the transaction. But we have, we've spoken to a lot of funds. We have, we know that they're interested. We know that they will work with us. We've signed NDAs, so we do have tractions. And as soon as we, finish the platform, we'll already have investors who are putting up their assets on our platform.
Assets or investments?
Well, the assets. The investment opportunity, the asset you can invest in.
Right. There's a small company in the crypto valley, it's called Partners Group, I think.
Yes,
so,
yes.
I have seen the CEO has been there. If you show this at the Partners Group, what is the reaction?
I think we haven't showed it to Partners Group yet.
If you would show it.
If we would show it, I think, of course, I don't know how they would react now. I think what we have as an advantage is we can scale our business faster. Partners Group has to hire a lot of people to do the investments themselves. No, they don't scale
In this
slow.
case, I'm investing in your side.
They don't? Okay.
No, okay.
Hey, I love your slides. Really minimalistic, great pitch, to the point, really, really well done. But I have a question about the system. So you have a two-sided business model, right? On
Yes.
the one hand,
Yes.
you have the people who invest, and on the other side, you have the investment opportunities. In terms of what kind of assets exactly are you putting on the entire funds, or in specific assets?
Yes, so in the first step, it'll be specific assets you can invest in.
Perfect, yeah. When you have specific assets, me as an investor, I want diversification. I want to diversify my portfolio.
Yes, yes.
With this, I don't have this. That's why I invest into funds.
So, okay, two things. First of all, you can invest very small amounts here. With a normal fund, you need $250,000. Here, you can invest 1,000 francs. 1,000 francs. So you know you can invest in a lot of assets when you cannot even buy a fund somewhere else.
Okay, and why can't I just go on the stock exchange or?
Because that's private equity. So it's by definition not listed on a stock exchange.
Okay, good. And who puts the assets on there? The CEO, or who puts the individual assets on?
The fund. So you have a fund, like a private equity fund, that's an investor, which invests in an asset.
Good.
You invest alongside.
Good. I asked so quickly that we don't have much time. A fund, why would they put your assets on there? Because they earn management fees, they earn a carry. With this, they don't have this.
Well, the capital raising process for them is a hassle. It's a lot of paperwork. They can raise capital much easier like that. And they can still charge a fee on it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So next one is bx.bet.
Hello. Just so for disclaimer, I'm not from bx.bet. My name is Luke Skullerek. We're the advisors on the project. We worked on more than 30 ICOs in the last 2 years. And I'm here, the team is in Malta and Germany, and they asked me to basically present the project tonight. And they're decentralized as per blockchain, so we are a global operation together with them. And I'm quite close to the project, so I'm hopefully capable to also answer all the tough questions later. So BX is special because we've seen a lot of projects in the last 2 years. They have MVP, which is very special in the ICO space, and it actually works on blockchain, on the testnet. That was launched a few weeks ago. And I dare to say that it's one of probably, if not the only project that I saw today that actually needs a blockchain to exist, which is special as well. So more about BX. So it's a decentralized betting exchange. So I don't know if you're into betting, but you would know the difference between betting platforms and exchanges. Betting industry, I mean, the potential is huge. It's 3 trillion market. That's like 3 times market cap of Apple now, right? So it's and of course there's a lot of illegal gambling, and yeah, I think we all agree that the market is big. In terms of the problems of the current betting platforms, and even if you don't know betting, I mean, you can imagine that they're highly centralized operations where actually bookmakers control a lot of the rules, and to the extent that, of course, the rules are not transparent, they're not fair, they favor the bookmaker, and in extreme cases, you can even get banned from the platform if you're too successful. So perfect case for blockchain. And with BX, we're creating a blockchain-based betting and prediction market ecosystem designed to disrupt or make it better for all the players, all the participants. So in terms of the benefits, I mean, if you follow blockchain projects, I mean, most of them are kind of normal benefits of blockchain, provide decentralization, trustless peer-to-peer system, fair fees. I mean, we helped also the team at BX to design a token and fees and structure. No one knows if it will actually survive the test of the real customers, but this is something that we also inbuilt into the token design, that we can also change and adapt the fees if we see that they don't fit. And of course, we also looked at first markets. I mean, the potential is huge. but we mostly focus at the moment on sports markets. That's where the team has the most experience in. They come all from iGaming industry, so they have all the contacts all over the world. So we believe that that's where we will win our first customers and make first revenue. In terms of the ecosystem, I mean, as I said, exchange with fair fees, low fees. So compared to all the centralized platforms, you pay a fraction, and you have to actually know what's going on behind the scenes. So that everything is really transparent on using smart contracts. So you actually get the payout automatically as soon as the events are finished. And I think what's really unique is a really social platform as well, because you basically become a bookmaker. So someone mentioned earlier betting on how many butterflies will fly over Zürich. Yeah? So you can actually make this bet today. We could put all money in, and if you think the butterflies are coming, you can sell this bet because it's an exchange. So if you think you're losing, you can sell the bet if someone is willing to buy it. So it's really truly decentralized platform. UX is cool. I mean, they really put a lot of effort into the app. So the app is being now worked on. It's going to, I mean, betting sites are generally complicated, but relatively it's a good UX. Token design, I mean, you can look at the white paper, placing bets. There are different rules around the token, why you need token, fees and payments, of course, but also a proof of stake to enable different features. We're currently in the private sale. We already have some funding, so we're okay. We're not in it just for money. We're looking for customers, partners. We already have good traction in certain markets, and through also affiliate networks and partners, we're doing okay with the token customer acquisition. But of course, if someone wants to invest, I mean, I can give you a little bit more detail in terms of the team. Very experienced in iGaming, so. I mean, they mostly come from iGaming industry in Malta and Germany, yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. You were mentioning that you have successful projects or now tests in some markets. Can you maybe elaborate on that? And the second one, kind of part of the question, is also in gaming industry. I mean, there's a lot of competition, a lot of regulation. How do you deal with that?
So the first question, we're focused on sports. So if you look at the white paper, most of the tokens of design and MVP has been built around sports events. So that's where the team in Malta has the most experience, most contacts. They have access to affiliate networks where they can basically promote the platform and get the first people who will actually use it. And the feedback is really good so far. We're too early to actually start collecting money. We're using now events to basically, on the testnet with fake tokens, to actually get feedback from early customers. In terms of regulation, it's because it's decentralized. I mean, they talk closely to regulators in Malta, but because it's a peer-to-peer decentralized system, so the regulation is actually quite okay. I mean, there are a few things that you need to look at, so they're really aware of the regulation. But it's like, you know, YouTube in the end. You upload, and then the ownership of the bet is on the bookmaker, which is the user.
Yeah, well done. I mean, you're not from the team. You can pitch well, ask your questions. Are you from What Digital?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my question was also about the regulation, but well explained. So basically, you just go to a different country where regulations are less strict. The other thing is what I'm wondering, how do you create this network effects? How do you market this platform that everybody knows about it?
Absolutely, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, we think we can do it through creative marketing and also really looking for people who are into decentralization, blockchain, and also people hate these centralized players. So if we can get to them and they can be advocates for the platform, I think that we'll do well. I think also we have ideas, like we can place really, like people say, like Bitcoin will be worth 1 million by the end of the year, or Bitcoin will be worth 5 cents by the end of the year. So we could also make those bold bets, work with maybe celebrities to place those bets. So I think we have lots of ideas for marketing, but I think the key will be to reach the betting communities, because they will have to, and there's a lot of interest in betting with Bitcoin and with crypto. So I think that's our first market, because people look for betting with their cryptocurrency.
I have no clue about betting, but the predictive markets and Orgu. Have you seen that? And how do you compare that?
Yeah, they're not betting exchanges. They're also very technical. So this is more for everyday user. So I think a lot of these like hardcore blockchain projects are really not made for everyday user to place a bet and maybe share it with their network. And and there are other kind of centralization. Some of them also, these platforms are highly centralized, or they have master nodes. This is also fully decentralized platform.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we reached the last pitch, and it will be from the startup called Unitalent.
So hello, is it? Yeah, I hope it's fine. So my name is Bardia. I'm the founder and CEO of Unitalent, and I'm an ETH graduate. ETH is the best technical uni here in mainland Europe. Prior to becoming like an entrepreneur, I used to be a development engineer, saw a lot of great international corporations, then I worked as a project manager. I think that's a natural path. And then I moved on to become a management consultant and built among other things, the Vistaprint team here in Switzerland, which was an amazing job. And then I moved on to start working in the sharing economy when it comes to freelancing, because I saw in our assignments there were more and more people, high school freelancers, I would say in their mid-30s, beginning of 40s, they thought, okay, I don't need to work in this big corporate world, I want to have kind of hike from project to project, and I thought that's kind of an amazing idea, and that was when we started NZ Group, and I want to give you an understanding of what we have achieved in the past 5 years. So we started in 2013. We are an agency specialized on high-skilled freelancers. That means management consultants who are working on their own. Some of them have their own companies, one man, one woman companies, other ones are payrolls. This is a huge and growing market, 5.5% every year. You can talk about the $1 trillion markets, which are all nice figures. The thing is what we can really reach, and we are focusing on the very top part of this market. Right now, we are working with a network of 750 people. Maybe it's a bit more. This presentation is a couple of weeks old. We have an established company. I would say it's a reverse ICO. I was in Korea lately. They love this new term, reverse ICO. So we are doing a reverse ICO. And we have generated about 10 million Swiss francs in revenues, working with clients such as Volvo, Roche, Oerlikon, Autoneum, CSL. Like they're, I think, known companies. So when we started working on our digital platform to consolidate this very fragmented and heterogeneous market, because you have to imagine there are a lot of local offline agencies in the high-scale market, and they are working with their clients in their region with their consultants, and all of them are building like databases of thousands of freelancers. Sometimes they vet them, best case, but they can't always utilize them in terms of they don't have enough projects to bring them on, and that makes sense because you want to have a certain redundancy also, right? If you have an inquiry as an agency, you want to have redundancy because maybe your preferred consultant you have been working with is not available. And therefore, there are a couple of things, and this is one of those. How can we scale using trustless blockchain transactions? So how can we work with these local agencies and motivate them to join a new platform called, in this case, Unitalent, and that they are sure that they get something from it, right? It's a typical referral reward with a lot of stakes in it, because these are like agencies having put a lot of energy in building their own networks. Another thing is also how you can cut out the famous middleman, because as an agency, what you're doing basically is you're having a contract with the corporation, you're having a contract with your freelancer, and you're in the middle, and you're having then your margin, 30-35% if it's a good time, right? And this is like the kind of ownership of work you're taking away from freelancers, which became freelancer to be free, right? And these are things that we want to solve with Unitalent. I don't want to deep dive into our token economy, but to give you an idea, 1 minute, to give you an idea, Unitalent is an inclusive platform. It's an open platform for all players to join. It includes freelancers, of course, agencies, consulting companies, thinking about liquid talent, big corporations themselves, as a buyer and as a supplier of projects, and so on and so forth. And we're using a ERC20 based token called the talent token. Yes, in terms of software development, our team is sitting here and in the Ukraine, because they're the best software blockchain developers. These are like kind of screenshots. We have 200,000 lines of code. We have invested seed a lot, and we are planning an ICO at a date to be defined in the future. In 5 years, we have a clear roadmap. We want to generate 800 million of freelance billings, and we want to penetrate market by market through partnerships. Here we go. This is our team. Yeah, it's me. It's marketing people. It's software developers. It's legal people that you need, fortunately or unfortunately, and so on and so forth. So I would say everything that we need to get this done. So if you want to support us, follow us. We have been and are very active on all social media channels. And yes,
thank you.
Join the movement. Much. Sure.
You're mentioning, if I understood correctly, is revenue of 10 mil.
Yeah.
Then you also spoke about a percentage of the traditional businesses. What is exactly your business model, and what is your margin, or what's kind of the fees that are included?
Well, I mentioned this. Right now, we are an international agency specialized in high-skill freelancing in verticals, life sciences, and heavy industries. So you have to imagine there are clients who are coming there with a very specific problem. They want to insource. Margins 30%, and the revenue 10 million is a billing. So it's not, it's a sale, it's a revenue, right? So the freelancer billing over the years. Does that answer the question?
Work on one transaction, like how will that exactly work?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, in the offline business, it's you have contracts with the client and you have contracts with your freelancer, and you negotiate a deal with the freelancer and you negotiate a deal with the client. You're the middleman, and the freelancer is not allowed to work directly with the client and stuff like that. And if you want to have like a referral through your freelancer, the answer is always, let me see, because they're unsure whether they will get something for it or not, right? And if you put all of these transactions on the blockchain, they can interact directly, and that's a great thing about this use case, if you ask me, because it's a lot about adoption, right? It's adapt, it's about how clients are using this technology seamlessly integrated to in-source talent, right?
Found a great market, great problem to fix. 2 quick questions, quick answers. What kind of jobs are your platform?
What kind of jobs? Most of them are project management consulting, stuff like that.
Okay, and then in terms of how do you differentiate yourself from existing players like Upwork, where there's no blockchain?
Well, there are a couple of existing players which are online but off-chain, and first of all, they have other market segments, right? I mean, looking at Upwork or Fiverr, they're rather in the lower scale market. And the other thing is, with blockchain technology, you can cut the middleman out. So we are going down to 8% fees, and we are tokenizing not the income. We are not tokenizing the income of the freelancers, which is, if you ask me, wrong, because you can't be successful with that, because freelancers can't go and buy grocery stuff. We are tokenizing the platform fees, and we're distributing the value of a platform among the users.
All right. One quick question from the audience. 30 seconds. Yes.
So you said that the regular rate for a consultant is around 35%. I mean, the cut that the agents normally take is 35%, but you take 30%, so you are the middleman.
Yes, at the moment we are. But if you go on UniTalent, we will not be, because then you can interact directly, so clients can find the freelancers directly on the platform. It's completely free for both sides, unless the project is executed. And then we have 8% of the fees, and those 8% are tokenized and redistributed inside the community. So if you create value on a platform, it's not only shareholder value, it's stakeholder and community value that you create.
So I would like to help to answer the question, because I know the project. You right now you have 30% cut, but you are disrupting your own business.
Yes.
And you are disrupting with blockchain going to 8%, something like that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
While the jury is still discussing who was the best pitcher of tonight, I will invite Lev from Blockwiz. He will tell a bit more about this company, because as I said at the beginning, if it wouldn't be this company and their support, then probably we wouldn't be here tonight. So Lev, the floor is yours. You can speak with the audience and tell more what you're doing.
Thank you, Carlos, very much. It's actually, I'm very excited to be here. It's so nice to see a lot of great forward-thinking ideas that was presented and pitched today. I personally had a quite an intense day. I flew just recently, 1.5 hours ago from Latvia, where we hosted another event with representatives from European Parliament on blockchain applications for governments and banking finance institutions. I had an opportunity to do a pitch slide presentation, but I believe you're at this point in time when you're pretty tired and want to go to have some snacks. So I'll just tell you a short story about the first startup that I founded. It was in as early as 2013. It was a gamification incentivized platform for children and parents to incentivize children to be more productive on their house chores. The platform's idea was to teach children the basics of their independence that lies ahead of them. And we were born out of Startup Weekend incubation program with a team of 12. We had our MVP done and first customers and a working product. But where I failed as an executive is to reach out with this idea to an investor. Every investor were either unsure of this idea, he didn't like it, he didn't see how it could be implemented within the public space. There were not much similar ideas, there were no proof of concept that already worked and bring billions or millions to the investors. So the startup kind of drowned. Investors themselves are scared as well, and we believe that if we have... Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll try to be... okay. So, yeah, I try to be louder. So we believe that today you have all the opportunity to attract crowd investment, not only from basic fiat type investors, crowd investors, but also in crypto. You of course already know that because you are all here. As a Blockwiz, we provide you with that opportunity to work with the professionals. We develop smart contracts, we develop oracles, we implement Ethereum and Bitcoin money collection platform, as well as we are partnered with fiat collection. To give you a glimpse of our performance, if you ever heard of Car Vertical, they have collected about 15 million euros in crypto during their ICO process. We were their development team. Currently, we are working with Civic, and I hope they are happy with us because we didn't have flaws since. Just this week, one of our startups that we consulted and helped create them smart contracts have attracted 1.5 million euros in their pre-sale round just in 2 days, from Monday till Wednesday. We here we're very supportive towards communities all around the world, and we like to see more events like this happen in Zurich, in Vienna, in Berlin, in Paris, in London, whatever it is. And we are happy, we are open, we are reachable, and we are looking forward to work with all of you. Thank you.
All right, so Ralf is going to give feedback. about all the pitches and startups. Yeah, I will just give my Ralf.
Thank you very much. I don't know why I have to give the feedback. Probably I'm the most hardest guy in the judge, but I'm happy to announce 3 winners tonight. So, because we have seen very different stages of startups at this presentation, and the number 3 is Loyalty Coin. Yeah? Why Loyalty Coin? Because it's the most tangible one. They work already, they can do business tomorrow, and they're ready for the market, and we can feel the blockchain already today. The number 2 is Elrond, because it has the hugest potential. In this world, you guys are huge. And last but not least, the winner is, and I'm searching for Digipharm. Because I and we as judge, we believe that Digipharm uses the blockchain for a very good thing, but to be honest, it takes another 5 to 10 years to get this vision done. We hope you and your team will make it, but it takes some 10 years more than Loyalty Coin. Yeah? Congrats on that.
I want to congratulate every nominee. Guys, you are great. And Digipharm, you are the winner #1 of Blockchain, Networking and Pitch Night 2018 in August. Congratulations.